so getting ready for this
Yeah.
deep dive, going through all this material on AI really got me thinking, like, wow, the roots of this go way back. Like, we're not just talking about lines of code here, we're talking ancient myths and stuff.
It's true. It's easy to think about AI as this like super modern thing.
Hmm.
But that desire to create something intelligent, it's like hardwired into us.
Yeah.
We've been telling these stories forever. Just look at the ancient Greeks, right? They had Talos, this giant bronze automaton, and he was built to protect the island of Crete.
It's like those early storytellers were already kind of wrestling with the whole idea of artificial intelligence, even though they didn't have the language for it that we do now.
Yeah.
And then centuries later, you've got a philosopher like Descartes coming along, and he just throws this bomb out there, this idea that the mind itself is like a machine, which totally blew my mind when I read that, because it's like, whoa, did he just open the door for AI centuries ago?
Descartes. Yeah, he really shook things up. I mean, before him, people saw the mind as this like mysterious thing, almost spiritual, right? But by separating the mind and the body, suddenly there was this possibility, this idea that the mind, well, maybe it could be understood like a machine, like some incredibly complex clock. And if you can understand it mechanically, maybe, just maybe, you can build a copy.
So you have got centuries of these myths, these philosophical debates, and it's all kind of setting the stage for where we are now. Like, are we just living in a sci-fi novel that's slowly becoming reality all around us? But okay, let's talk about AI as an actual field. When does that story really begin?
Well, things really start humming in the 20th century with these brilliant, really bold thinkers, mathematicians, engineers. But these weren't just your average tech guys. These folks were visionaries.
And the stuff you sent over mentioned some really big names, like we're talking Alan Turing. This is the guy who helped crack the Enigma code, right?
Yeah.
During World War II. So we're not messing around here.
Absolutely. Turing was a giant. But you also have John McCarthy, the guy who actually gave us the term artificial intelligence. And we can't forget Marvin Minsky. He helped found the AI lab at MIT. Minsky, he was convinced machines could actually learn someday, solve problems, maybe even think like us.
Okay, so these are the founding fathers, the pioneers. But before we go any further, I think we need to define what we actually mean by AI. Like, when I ask my phone to give me directions or play that song I can't get out of my head, is that artificial intelligence?
Totally. It
Yep.
seems so simple, right? But think about it. Your phone's listening to you,
Mhm.
understanding your words, then it's digging through all this data, making decisions based on what you like. Those are all things that for a long time we thought only humans could do.
Okay, that iPad's really cool. But
And
I feel like we're just scratching the surface here. The potential of AI seems way bigger than just picking the perfect song. The research you sent talked about using it for, like, everything. I mean, diagnosing diseases, developing new energy sources.
Exactly. And that's what's so exciting about AI. Its potential. I mean, really think about it. AI might be the key to solving some of humanity's biggest problems. But to get to those solutions, to understand how we might get there, we have to rewind a bit, go back to a key moment. And that's the 1956 Dartmouth Conference.
This is where it all becomes official, right? Like the birth certificate of AI as a field.
You got it. John McCarthy, the guy we just mentioned, well, he actually coined the term artificial intelligence at that very conference. And it brought together all these brilliant minds who were working in this brand new field. And they basically said, this is what we're going to do. They laid out this incredibly ambitious research agenda, and that sparked the first real wave of AI development.
It's funny, when I was reading through all this stuff, getting ready for a deep dive, I noticed something. It's like AI is this weird mix of exciting and kind of creepy. We've gone from these ancient myths, like statues magically coming to life, and now everybody is worried about robots taking over the world.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole idea of artificial intelligence, it really gets under our skin. It's like this fundamental question about what it means to be human.
And the funny thing is, nowhere is that clearer than in pop culture, right? Like, think about it. Asimov's laws of robotics, that whole thing about how robots have to follow a moral code. People have been debating that for decades. Or movies like The Matrix or Ex Machina, right?
Yeah.
Total nightmare fuel. But it shows how deep this fear runs. That AI could wake up one day, become self-aware, and decide it doesn't need us anymore.
I know. It's like these fictional stories, they're not really about robots, are they? They're about us,
Yeah.
about how we fit into a world where we might not be the only intelligent beings. And all of that, all of those questions and anxieties, they lead to this really basic question. How do you even know if a machine is actually intelligent? Like, what does that even mean?
Sure.
And if we're going there, we have to talk about Alan Turing and his famous test.
Right, the Turing test. I feel like I've heard of it, but to be honest, I could never really explain what it is. It's like the ultimate test, though, right? To see if a machine can actually think like a person.
Exactly. Okay, so imagine this. You're having a conversation online, right? You're typing back and forth, but you have no idea who's on the other end. Could be another person, could be a really, really advanced AI program. The Turing test says that if that AI can fool you, if it can talk to you and you have no idea it's a machine, well, maybe, just maybe, we have to say that it's capable of thinking on a human level.
So it's all about tripping people, basically, making them think they're talking to another human when it's really a computer program. That's wild. Has anything ever passed the test?
You know, there have been some close calls, some programs that have fooled people, but only for a little while. Nothing that's definitively aced at the Turing test yet. But the fact that we're even getting close is kind of mind-blowing, don't you think?
Totally. It really makes you wonder, what if we reach that point? What if a machine consistently passes the Turing test? Does that mean it's self-aware? Like, it has feelings, understands that it exists? I mean, whoa.
That is the million-dollar question. And that's where things go from science fiction to, well, maybe this is really going to happen.
Yeah.
Right now, researchers are trying to figure out what consciousness actually is, not just in us, but in machines too.
We could be on the verge of creating machines that don't just act intelligent, but they actually are aware. That's both really amazing and kind of scary at the same time. But okay, even if we ignore the whole self-awareness thing for now, don't we already argue about what makes something intelligent in the first place, especially when it comes to AI?
All the time. And you're right, the Turing test, it's all about talking, about communication. But what about other kinds of intelligence? Like, let's say a machine is incredible at diagnosing illnesses, way better than a human doctor. Does that make it intelligent, even if it can't, write a poem or understand a joke?
It's wild to think about, right? We've come all the way from these ancient stories about like magical beings and stuff, and now here we are having these mind-blowing conversations about whether machines can actually be conscious.
I know, it really makes you think, this whole field of AI, it's not just about building smarter machines, it's about holding up a mirror to ourselves. Like, what does it even mean to be human if we can create something that can do all the things we can do?
And one of the things that makes us human, at least I think it does, is that we understand actions have consequences, Like, a machine can process information, make decisions based on data, but does it actually get what it means to make a choice? Like, the weight of that choice.
It's such an important point. It's like knowing something in your head versus really understanding it in your gut, right? We call it moral reasoning, ethical judgment. And honestly, it's an area where AI has a lot of room to grow.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with those choose your own adventure books. And it's like AI is at that point now, We've been so busy making it smarter, faster, but now it's decision time. What kind of adventure are we taking it on? Do we just want machines that follow orders? Or do we want them to have some kind of, I don't know, moral compass?
Big questions, right? And the exciting part is researchers are already working on this. Like, how do you bake ethics into AI from the ground up? Imagine a world where these super smart machines could actually make decisions that are not just efficient, but actually fair and accountable, maybe even compassionate.
So it's not just about making AI smarter, it's about making it wiser. It's like we're not just building tools, we're trying to raise like digital apprentices or something.
Exactly. AI shouldn't be about replacing us. It should be about helping us become better, helping us solve problems in a way that benefits everyone. And that means we can't just focus on what AI can do, we have to think about how it should ACT.
Which leads to one final, totally mind-bending question that came up in all that research you sent. Could AI ever develop a conscience? Like a real, genuine conscience, the way we think about it?
Oh, man. That question takes us to the edge of the map, doesn't it? It makes us think about consciousness, morality, the whole shebang. What we do know is this. We're still in the early chapters of the AI story. And the choices we're making right now, they're going to shape how this technology unfolds for generations.
It's definitely given us a lot to think about. I guess my biggest takeaway from all of this is AI isn't just about creating artificial intelligence. It's about learning what it means to be human. Until next time.